So for me, it was the darkest time. I have cried, I have written poems, I have done things, and I was like, iske baad, I was on the verge of depression, or maybe I was in.
What really drives a relationship is a culture of empathy. It's about really knowing me not doing this will make you feel bad, or if I say this, it will again make you feel bad.
Hi everyone, welcome to The Journey Within by Shobha Rana. It's an exclusive podcast where we talk about the turmoils in our inner and outer world. And basically what we're trying to do with these conversations is trying to get to know ourselves better, try to learn from other people's journey about our own inner world and how we can bring in more and more emotional stability to ourselves, and how it can then translate into our performance, into our general behavior towards others, and just make us generally feel nice about life. So that's the broad line of this podcast. And today I have a great friend on the show with me. He is a social media rock star. I think nobody does it like the way he does it on social media. Completely crazy guy, completely crazy. I've known him for some 7-8 years or so, and I've seen him climbing up the success ladder, doing one thing after the other. He's an MC, of course. He's also a singer, musician. He has a band. He now has a PR agency, and there's a lot to learn from his journey. So please welcome with me the amazing, fantastic, the curly-haired cool Baba, the Sahi Baba called Clint Varghese. Hi, Clint. How are you?
Shobha, dude, thank you so much. Thanks for the kind words. I really appreciate. You said some massive stuff about me.
Come on, that's all true.
Going back thinking of it while you were saying, I was just thinking, oh, not bad. Life lived well, at least. But thanks for the opportunity. I really am. I admire the fact that you're using technology as an opportunity to connect with people, to engage with them, to entertain them, to inspire them. We used to do that on stage. Today we can use technology and reach to more hearts, right? So I really admire the fact that you're putting in this effort.
Clint, I know you as somebody who has never shied away from bearing himself on social media or any other platform in your conversations, personal, one-on-one. You are just as real as it gets. And, and I'm so glad that some of these conversations have been personally very insightful for me. I just want to ask you that what space are you in generally in your life right now? I know you're always 24/7 high. But by high, I mean
just want to clarify that
not
bit.
that intoxication or whatever the word is for that. Not that high. I mean high on energy. That's what I meant. You are constantly. You're a powerhouse of energy. Always been that. You always, every day you put out a story there saying that it's a beautiful day, as I always say. How is every day so beautiful for you, and what space are you really in right now?
Dude, like amazing. Like couple of things to ponder around. To begin with, I feel who we are and what we are and how we are has definitely got to do a lot with what our ancestors have blessed us with. I mean, in simple genetic ways, we talk about genetic lineage being passed away.
I just today, read a beautiful post, and I shared it on my stories also. There was this Maharashtrian girl who got graduated from Oxford University, and she had put out the story of her grandfather that, he died a year ago. But this was a boy who was a lower caste, guy in a village, no resources to even access education or the basic things in life. Somehow convinced his parents that he wanted to go out to a place that is an hour and a half far off for schooling. Went there, got humiliated because he was from lower caste, so bullied and all of that. But the principal saw the talent in him and supported him through his journey and stuff. And that man then made it to Bombay and then raised his kid, and then this girl is born. So she's talking of 2 generations previous, and she's like, today I'm standing here, and so much credit we take for ourselves, right? That maine ye kar liya, maine wo kar liya, I'm so intelligent and all of that. Sometimes it gets to you, right?
Yeah.
But you don't know there's so much history that's responsible for you to just stand in the place that you are. I mean, let alone your achievements, whatever you do. So I think very rightly said about ancestors.
I'm completely with you on that fact, because it's true, right? Like if today that girl got an opportunity to go to Oxford, it has got to do with the foundations that has been laid out there to have begun with her education. And considering the challenges that we know of in India, education is a challenge, and getting a job is a challenge, and like challenges at various levels, right? I feel what it prepares you for is also the kind of warrior spirit one should have. We talk about first world, second world, developing country issues, right? We don't have right kind of infrastructure in a city like Mumbai to travel, basic infrastructure. But yet we are way much more productive and efficient than a lot of cities put together who have all world class situations. So I feel there is a sense of warrior spirit that builds, and why I'm linking that to our ancestors is also because the kind of life they've lived for whatever we've been blessed with. So all of those actions have got to do with, how your hair is today, quality of hair, or the skin color. I mean, our skin color, we didn't get it just because of from nowhere, right? We know genetically, value system wise as well. Culturally, we're born into certain places where there is a certain way life is looked upon, the kind of dress you wear, food you eat, things you do, everything, right? So just looping it back to the prior conversation that I am full power and all of that, I am. I acknowledge it. I'm not going to shy away from that. Yet I'm humble enough to accept that I know that it's not just my doing. It's got to do with a lot of things from the past. Having said that, also you said that I wake up every day, I put stories, I say it's a beautiful day, as I always say. The reason for that is I feel between the time we are born to the time we leave this world, right? Let's say B to D, birth to death. The life is filled with choices. It's the C's that we make. Not every day is a good day. And I think it's the good, not so good days are the days when you require to push yourself. On a good day, you're automated. There is already the motivational factors are there. You're driven to do things. But what about that down and out day? What do you need? I truly believe you can get better if your foundations are strong. So I start my day every day saying, even if I have, if I've lost someone, if I've gone through some market crashes happen, some geopolitical war is going on, I have lost money in my investments or whatever, all those cases. It's a beautiful day, as I always say, which means also we are preparing with the warrior spirit, no matter what challenges come. I remember my mom telling me, मेरा कुछ घुटने का कुछ इंजरी हुआ था. I was handicapped for a while, or I was recovering. Let me say I was recovering from my own issues, and I was very sad and pain, a lot of pain. We were performing at a
You jumped from the stage or something stupid.
yeah. So
with
we
it.
were performing at South Asian Band Festival. Rock and roll. We were the opening act on the final day, which is the third day. It's a 3-day festival. Happens at Purana Killa. I think Delhi's most oldest heritage site, if I'm not wrong. My stats might not be the right, but we did perform.
We get the feel, yeah.
I jumped off the stage. I had some ribs broken prior to that on a gig, but so I was wearing something inside, so I didn't have the right balance. I jumped off the stage. I didn't land well, and it had an instant ligament tear. But I didn't realize what's going on because thousands of people in front of you, you're full power, you're in that zone. So I continued to perform later. I got to know it was some ligament tear and meniscus tear. I had to get whatever done. But yeah, coming back to the point that, it was rehabilitation period and I was going through this, and I told my mom that, Mom, I don't know, you pray, you go to church every Sunday, you pray for me, I pray for myself, I pray for the world, whatever. But why did I have to get this? What did I do wrong? Like, why should I go through this? She said, if you believe in God, right, then don't ask him to help you recover faster, or, let not bad times happen to you, but ask for strength during bad times, because that's a sure. Bad times won't come, kabhi hoga hi nahi. Bura waqt aate hi rahega zindagi mein, yaar. Come on, we are I think mature enough, old enough now to understand that there will be mixed bag days. So it's about that beautiful day, as I always say, is a mantra for me. It's a philosophy that I live my life.
Intent is really to take, talk to people who are okay to bear their vulnerable sides, who are okay to share a piece of their heart, who are okay to tell others that it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah, it's totally okay to not be okay. I think the okay part of it is not the external aspect of things. The okay part is the internal everyday activities you put in. As you said, it's about we live two lives, and there is this outer life that we kind of all bring together and all of that. But it's the work that you go back and do at home, not just at home, every day, everywhere. So as they say, all day, everywhere. That's the part that really works. That's what will take you towards okay in a non-stable world out there. And I think that's the work that needs to be done. And the challenge is we don't want to put in the work, including me. ये मेरी बात भी है. मैं बात अच्छा कर लेता हूँ. करने में I'm not as good as much as I speak, but I am aware of it, I acknowledge it, and hence I use that as an opportunity to work on myself every day.
Clint, tell me about something very sad, or something that has discouraged you and disheartened you completely, has broken you down and your spirit. Has it ever happened with you? And when and if that has happened,
Wow.
how did you bounce back off?
Yeah, so I had a very interesting theory, okay? ये थोड़ा lengthy होने वाला है, but I have to tell you this. I have not discussed about this for a while. So I said we always, let's say water, we know 1 liter water, 2 kilos of sugar, or there is a unit to everything. So I said we know that happiness can't be quantified, or let's say any emotion in general, we don't have like मैं 5 on 10 खुश हूँ यार. Who, as you said, can be eating a bowl of your ice cream, favorite ice cream, or grab my bite of chocolate, spending time with your partner, pet, winning an award, all those kind of things, right? It will always have, and depending on a lot of other, what is your mindset at that point of time will also determine how much you will enjoy the ice cream. It's a very dynamic thing. It's not like ऐसा है आइसक्रीम खाया तो 5 points मिलेगा. It's not like that. It's just
Correct.
like it's a very dynamic state of being in general, right? तो मैंने बोला यार तो चलो let's, as every theory starts, let's say if happiness could be quantified in a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being, I didn't know, I mean I'm not still complete in this theory, but let's say this is called the theory of quantification of happiness. So 0 means you're dead, 10 means you are, let's say, nirvana stage. I mean, this is just assumptions, based on assumptions. So anywhere between 1 to 9 is where your pendulum swings, right? So how do you quantify this? Now then I'm thinking, when you said that, what are the moments that you really felt bad? It's a day when I just had an argument with my mom, right? It was just that perfect thing going on. I just wanted her to understand that, and she just was not, accepting enough, or this is what I felt, and whatever it felt. I had a breakup, I felt the same. I lost money, I felt the same. A friend did this to me, I felt the same. So I feel there are those bad moments. But if you, now when you suddenly say bad moments, and now which highlights more, which means that pained you more, right, at that point. So breakups, of course, something that you put a lot of effort. Let's say you nominated for an award, you thought that you would play somewhere, you didn't. Feels so much like he was like पैसे तो बर्बाद हो गए, वो अलग nominations के सारा PR किया था, सोशल मीडिया पे खर्चा किया, इतना मेहनत किया, फैंसी ड्रेस कंपटीशन करके हर गिग में परफॉर्म किया, पसीने छूटे, ये टूटा, फिर भी परफॉर्म किया, फिर भी नहीं जीते. So these are things that will keep you feel, all of these kind of things. So for me, I don't feel there is anything that has been so big in my life, doing that gave me so much of joy or just brought me down, because I feel it's just a pendulum that I actively swing every day. मेरे को मजा आता है और मेरे को बहुत बुरा भी लगता है, मेरे को डिप्रेशन भी होता हूँ, but then you got to come back. Even if you're too happy, you got to come back, because too excited and too overwhelmed can't be the state of being forever, right? You experience pain. I just came across, I was watching Jay Shetty's video today, very powerful words. He said you experience pain because you've experienced joy. Otherwise it wouldn't feel pain, right? Somebody, let's say for example, हम लोग बोलते हैं यार, people who, like today we talk about this whole hip hop generation coming from the slums, right? And then we talk about there are people who are blessed with studios in their house, maybe their parents are like musicians or they have access to gears and all those kind of things. But it's not that if you had more resources you would always end up achieving the highest,
Of
whatever
course.
it is. It's got to do, so there is pain here. Maybe this guy, this would be aspirational things, but that's not got to do with what you can achieve in life, I feel. And that's the difference in an everyday life. तो कोई ज़्यादा भी चीज़ इतना कुछ ये नहीं है, ना कोई ये है तो ये है. It's just swinging between. So मेरे लिए वो है, मतलब, because you asked me कि what is it that's really put you down, like a fight with my partner kills me, man.
Do you guys fight?
Hare,
You are
we
such
fight.
a Bebu and Me is a
Oh,
legit
man.
channel on Instagram, and you
I
are
have to say this. We
in
discussed
love
this.
and how you are.
I'm in
and
love. I'm
yeah,
in love.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
engaged, guys. I'm engaged. I'm taken.
Yes, Clint is admitting to it for the first time. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I've been open about it.
I
Over
mean,
the past year,
about her, of
about
course,
it, yeah.
yes.
I love her. I
But,
think
yeah.
why I love her and why is it that option 2 is not in mind is because I feel that's where it begins. Because if you think you don't, अरे यार, people won't change. People are like this. वो वैसे ही है, ये नहीं बदलेगी, वो नहीं बदलेगा. मैं विश्वास नहीं करता. I feel anybody can change. Because I have changed. I think everybody changes anyways. Certain traits we carry with us for a longer period of time. Based on when we want to leave it, we leave it. Be it humility, arrogance, whatever sort of traits it is. So, second thing, first is I believe we can all become whatever. I really feel what really drives a relationship is a culture of empathy, dude. It's about really knowing me not doing this will make you feel bad, or if I say this, it will again make you feel bad. So it's at 3 levels. It's at thought level, it's at your words level, and it's at your action level. Whatever you did here. So I think the work has to be within. So that's why I love now this whole relationship phase, because I realize it's not what I want from her is that really is of prior essence. It is. I am not taking that away. I want certain things and, whatever.
Of
But
course.
it's about what I can do to be like what my mother and father could be, in spite of the point of views of differences, changes, whatever things they didn't like, or how they smelled, or how they looked, or we go through all sorts of physical, emotional changes on an everyday basis in the long term when you're with someone, right? So to be able to be comfortable, to be more accepting. So I think that's the part about the love, I'm in love aspect of it.
I'm really happy for you and Audie and what you have built up together. I've met her and beautiful person, everything that you want in your partner. I really wish that you guys go all the way and have all the happiness in the world. But having said so, I know you, Clint, from the time where you were this wild goose on a chase of I don't know what. And there are times I have been scared for you. I
Yeah, I
have
remember
cautioned
that.
you.
I
I have
remember that
texted you.
Baku trip.
Baku trip in the night, in
Oh
the
my
early hours
God.
of the morning, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"What are you
Wild
up to?
stuff.
Send me a picture." Wild stuff. Some of the craziest, wackiest, wildest stuff that you have done in your life. So in this generation of now, there's the applications of the world where you go to date, hookups, and these all things, right? So. Tell us from your perspective, how has it been for you and what are some learnings there? I'm sure everything in life teaches you something. So you've had your fair share of being bit by the snake.
What's so special about the fact is I was just running through and I was remembering that how one of like some of the integral part of life we've shared with each other. So I feel so blessed to have had you to kind of even feel like a friend to share something in your life with. So other than that, the wild part of it, I feel yeah, I have been a rebel sort of a guy. Like that comes from the even the length of my hair at some level. I mean, it's not justified, but because it was not cool for me to have grown hair as per my parents and my community of people that I was part of, but I rebelled it against. So I have lived a wild life. I've loved to travel because I didn't want to spend time at home. So I would do these mall activities back in college days, make some money off the weekends, and then wait for one of those holidays or a weekend that comes in, and then I would go straight to Parvati Valley, up Himachal, or like I'd go to like Goa or like Kodaikanal or of the likes. These were like the hippie trail of India back in the day, and it kind of excited me because these are like real rebel stories. So I have had a lot of I don't know what I was chasing, but I knew one thing for sure, that I just wanted to experience things that really gave me a lot of joy. And for me, my joy came from these kind of stuff: traveling, meeting people, and talking about applications. I have had the opportunity to meet people on social discovery platforms, and that's what you call it, right?
We've put it in a very sophisticated manner,
Yeah.
just because we want to not take the
See,
names of
ठीक
the
है.
brands.
Let's
But
let's
yeah,
talk about it. You're
yeah.
young, you're wild. You want to meet people. You want to have sex. You want to be intimate. Okay. You want to.
You don't want to be intimate. You just
No,
want to
but
have
for me,
sex.
oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's the best part of it. I think we were having a pre-conversation, and we kind of looped into this part, and you asked me, so how is one night stands and relationship different? Uh, I'm sure there are a lot of differences, but I'm sure one thing that for me in my personal experience that has been common has been being respectful. So even like my one night stands, I've never been in a situation when I have walked out of someone. Maybe
You
like
should
there
have
is.
walked out on quite a few occasions, but
No, I've been
how
actually
I
thrown out
wished.
of. Oh, dude, I have to tell you this on your podcast. Never discuss this. Bear it all.
You
So
should tell the Baku story. I
no, not the
really
Baku
want
story.
the
Not the Baku
narration of
story.
that. You should have walked out. I told
This
you
is the
that.
part we chop off. No, so
It's all
chalo,
unfiltered.
I'll give a more cleaner story. Okay, I'm in Delhi. I've used a platform. Can I say names? Like, is it okay? Or
Yeah, you could say
yes,
that.
I was on Tinder. You're single, dude. You're like right swipe, right swipe. You had premium or VIP or whatever it was called, and where you could change locations. And this I'm talking is like 2017, 18, around that era sort of a thing. I'm like rocking it, and I'm wild and crazy and all that. So I would always, before I had a gig to travel to the next day, मैं हमेशा location change कर देता था. तो बॉम्बे से मैं, for example, if I'm going to Delhi and wherever the location is, Delhi का ठीक है, चालू कर दिया एक दिन पहले, conversation begins, and then I'm landing there tomorrow. Let's catch up. And it's natural. See, I mean, that's why you're on that app, right? You're
I have
born.
never downloaded any of these apps on my phone.
You had quite a deprived teenage life, I must say.
Yes,
No,
I
no, I'm
think
just
so.
kidding.
I think I was 50 in my teenage years and even later.
No, I'm just
But
kidding. I'm just kidding. No, I don't think. I think, I have been one of those guys growing up, the kind of son your mom wouldn't want. Today I look back and I feel like that, yeah. मुझे वो थोड़ा खराब लगता है कभी कभी कि I feel I could have been a better son. I know I am a good son, not a
Oh,
better
were
son.
you rebelling only because you wanted to rebel, like without a cause, or was it really you?
I feel rebel is never without a cause. Because then that's stupidity. Then that's not rebel. It's again a pendulum swing. You are stupid, you're too smart and wise also. So here and there. But in my case, my rebel was because there was a lot of thing growing up in an average South Indian middle class family that you're told how your life should be, what are your do's and don'ts, what should you eat, what kind of friends should you have. And it's also because my parents were born and raised in an environment where they had people of a similar mentality, similar speaking language, similar maybe religious affiliations or whatever. Those kind of cultural things were very common. I was born in a place where I had a Punjabi, a Rajasthani, a Gujarati, Delhi wala, Haryanvi, all sorts of people together, right? So I kind of experienced. So my dad, I remember, used to tell me, "Tera koi bhi ek Malayali friend nahi hai close." It was true. Like I had because that wasn't the criteria for me, right? I mean that is not what it was. So मेरा फंडा ये था कि there were a lot of things that I was told shouldn't be done, and I think rebelliousness comes from the fact that when, if at all, let's say you feel you're deprived or you're not allowed to do something, that's when you rebel against. So मेरा फंडा वो था. तो मेरे को बाल बढ़ाना था, फैंसी कपड़े पहनने थे, मेरे को साइंटिस्ट बनना, अपना डॉक्टर इंजीनियर नहीं बनना था. I wanted to be a rock star and all those kind of things. So there were reasons enough to be rebel. I have to tell you one of the craziest incidents. I was in Delhi. I had a gig, and
Craziest is when you were in Baku.
craziest is in Baku. Like that Baku edition is, there's a bunch of such editions. But the craziest in the sense where I was thrown out of a house in Delhi at like 2 a.m. in the night. Came for a gig in Delhi. Gig is over. I'd already met this person online a day before because thanks to Bumble Premium or VIP or whatever it's called, or Tinder Plus. And then, I'm agreed to go. And she stays, I think I was staying somewhere at Connaught Place, and she was a little towards the west of Delhi. And it took me a while to travel, an hour or so. I went and met, and I'm sure we both were expecting different things. But and it was all different.
What were you expecting?
I was expecting, just in general, like having a good time and, so on and so forth.
What was she expecting? Or
I'm
what
sure
is your understanding of
Yeah, I
good?
think that's a better question. My understanding of good, see, I'm single, I'm on Tinder, I'm from Bombay, I've come to Delhi, I've got an evening to catch up. So you want to maximize, you want to be more productive and efficient, as they say. So I wanted to meet, I want to spend time. And
As who says?
you got to be productive in life. The idea of this podcast is, you got to be more maximizing the potential. So just keeping it, very simple, right? I was looking for an opportunity to interact, maybe connect with that person, know her a little better, and maybe get a bit intimate or whatever, here and there. It's
right.
कुछ हुआ नहीं. रात को 2 बजे उसने मेरे को घर से भगा दिया because we started talking, and then the conversation came about diet choices and preferences, and she's a hardcore vegan. And I by default I've been raised in an environment where we eat all meat and fish and all of that, and nothing against anyone, nothing for anyone. These are all just personal choices, nutrition driven, choice driven, culturally, whatever. So this person, we're talking about this whole thing, and she tells me, why people turn vegan is because of either choice or for health reasons. So I said, health reasons? So she said, yeah, it's healthier to eat vegetarian. And then, okay, fair enough. Then she said, it's because of sustainability factor or something like that. And she was now getting on my nerves because it's about, she's telling me, do you know how much water is used to raise cattle, or how much of lands, forest areas, deforestation is done to grow corn? And valid point, right? I am not here to discuss United Nations agenda late in the night, right? So for me, it was, then it kind of became a little, maybe the vibe became a bit uncomfortable for both of us. And she then requested me to leave that night at that point, and I was happy to take an Uber and go back. And I said, so this is one of the, because you said
craziest,
that
right?
It's a little scary to go on dates, because if this had to happen with a girl in some, and it wasn't like a very populated sort of an area when I'd gone there, right? So I'm assuming that this can, not putting across any gender biases, but I'm saying this can be dangerous situations for a lot of people to go on dates, not knowing your person that you've been talking with. So never go to someone's house, maybe meet at a mutual place. If you're scared, tips. Tinder tips 101. So 3 tips to help you secure your
Listen, I don't need any Tinder,
don't
okay?
need?
No, I don't need, but go right ahead.
But for your, point made. Point made. But for you, so if you're scared, as Shobha said, and if you're one of those people who want to experiment it but not sure, so first, meet the person, check your social IDs, whatever, Instagram, and hopefully it's not private and you can access across the person. Talk it out, see if he or she is respectfully talking to you. Be meet at a common place, see, then your game.
See, these are real pertinent issues of today's time.
Yeah.
Social media and this access becoming so readily available. So these are your platforms where you connect. Even if you go to any room, you see people are looking down into their devices only. So that human connect as such is not there.
Ah, yeah.
And it's so strange that you're sitting in a room full of people where you have real opportunity to go and meet people and real opportunity to break the ice and say, hi, my name is this. And you're doing that on an app in the same room. I mean, it's crazy. So these are also the issues that the generation of today, all of us face.
We have,
So,
it's like a knife, no? It's like you can either
Yeah.
use to cut it and like make food and serve people, or to cut someone. So it has power. It's like, look back, right? Like, let's say go back to 1940s, 50s, or whenever the radio era was. People were glued on to radio. तो लोग ना बेसबॉल मैच देखने नहीं जाते थे यूएस में, वो रेडियो में बेसबॉल देखते थे. तो तभी के टाइम के दादा लोग बोलते थे, ये देखो ये लोग, इन लोग बेसबॉल ऐसा खेलता है. They listen to baseball on, like, that's what they do. They don't go out to grounds. Then came a time of TV. Radio kind of became a little irrelevant. TV became, now everybody's TV oriented, became the idiot box. It changed, but at whoever at any point called whatever out of it, but people who use that for their own personal gains and not just like पूरा दिन TV देख के लेंडुलो के बैठा है.
Oh no, absolutely, it's the necessary evil. You need
It is the necessary evil. So, but it is true that it has, like, even I have high timings on like my screen time, and that's not cool. That's not a good thing to do, because how much of it is used for? Now the next question is, okay, I use my phone for work, for research purpose, for entertainment purpose. तो then I have to define, like, ठीक है, मेरा work कितना घंटा था, मेरा ये कितना घंटा है. अरे 5 घंटा Instagram, इतना कौन सा रिसर्च चल रहा है Instagram पे, right? So it's like that kind of stuff. So I feel you need to be more aware of how you are investing your time, and at the end of the day, it's the choices you make. Be it glued onto the phone, or for if you have, if you like to travel and meet people on social media, I mean on social discovery platforms or whatever it is the choices you make. Be safe in whatever condition it is. Be it if you're getting intimate with a person that you don't know, be safe at various levels. The question is, should you do it or not? These are all individual choices. I have done it. I have learned a lot from it. It has helped me build my character in many a way. It's not a bad thing. We all want to be loved and want to love and all of that kind of stuff. We try different ways, but I think at some point you want to settle down in a way where it's not your everyday activity to, you want to focus your energies on other things. So that's why a relationship, for me, in my phase, I look at it that way. Hinduism, ancient Vedic people talked about 4 stages of life. The first stage is brahmacharya, ashrama, dharma. You're a student, you're learning things, you're grasping things from the world. You're preparing yourself to get into grihastha ashrama. You're going to now get married, you're going to raise children, you got to learn all your things. So it's like setting a foundation. Stage 1, stage 2 is grihastha, third is vanaprastha. It's your time when you retire and you're dhire dhire. Now it's not about withdrawals, symptoms. 4th stage is sannyasa ashrama dharma. Like, it's, you're withdrawn, you are out there. Now the thing is, you can jump from brahmacharya to sannyasa as well.
That's what a lot of people are at least trying to do these days.
Are trying to do, and so I think that's beautiful. We see,
but
like,
for some people it has also become a quest to just appear cool or cooler than the others.
Thanks to social media, you can reach out to a lot more people. It's branding purpose.
You feel that, oh, this is all beneath me now, I can just take a jump straight up from this to that. And I'm not saying no to anything. I mean, it's a world full of possibilities and wild possibilities. And to each his own.
Sure, yeah.
There are no rights and wrongs. There's nothing absolute in this world at all. Nothing is absolutely right, nothing is absolutely wrong. So we live in a world which operates largely in grey. So if we don't acknowledge the grey part of it, then we are the only fools, I think. I mean, you could keep saying that, oh, he's not doing it this way, this is correct, that is wrong. But it's all then living in your own bubble. That's not how the world operates. Correct. So Clint, now you appear as this person who is extremely confident in his own skin, in his work, in his life, in his relationship, in his financial goals, whatever that may be for you, right? And you have worked hard to be where you are in your life today. But was there a time there was an insecure version of Clint, who was just rebelling against people and against things, but inside he was just scared of the world?
Yeah, insecurity na mere mein abhi bhi hai. I still am insecure about a lot of things. Be it the way I look, how much money I have in my bank, or my relationship, everything. There is insecurities everywhere. I don't think insecurities are bad. I'll tell you why. Because it can be a powerful tool to look within, to realize that what is affecting you more. That is stage one. So you've acknowledged there is something that's pinching you. Stage two, what did you do or what are you going to do to change it? You've made your planning stage. Stage two. Stage three, are you putting in the action to make the difference? So be it about losing weight or making more money or being more organized in life or being whatever it is. So I have a lot of insecurities. And I feel it's only through layers of insecurities would you be confident, because otherwise it's fake confidence. If you don't know that what if you don't know the dynamics of things, we are confident on stage because we know the dynamics of what it takes to be a performer on stage. We've done that many a times. We've done the 10,000 hours easily, right? Preparing
Correct.
for it, talking to people,
Oh, more than that, I'm
all of
sure.
that, all of
Of
that,
course.
being on stage, all those kind of things. So I feel it's about now you got to prepare, use your, we were in, like, even before when I go on stage nowadays, right? There is some sort of this excitement out there.
Excitement or nervousness or something, a mix of both
It's a
is
mix
there.
of both.
It has been always there with me.
It is a kick-ass, and I came across this video which where a Olympian was asked, before you hit off your 100-meter blocks, before you take off the blocks, you're representing the country or with the finest runners in the world, la 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 la. So how nervous do you feel? So he said, I don't feel nervous, I feel excited. So what it's trying to say is, like, your heart is beating faster, your temperature has gone up, your pupils have dilated, you're in that zone, but the self translation of this biochemistry in your body, is it excitement or
Or
is it
nervousness.
nervousness,
Correct,
right?
correct.
It's that sort of a drive. So I try to keep it towards the excitement part of it. So I jump backstage, I run around, I kind of just use that sort of an energy instead of like being very hyper and not knowing what to do, because then it can be crazy. So I don't think about my gig or my script or speech or anything. I'm just like running around backstage having my fun. So back to the insecurity part of it. Insecurity to hona zaruri hai yaar. I don't think you can ever be a non-insecure person. The point is, how do you express yourself in situations when insecurity takes over? Be it in a conversation, be it in a decision you had to make, be it in things that you had to do. What did you do about it? You got to be mindful, you got to be aware. With time, you can work around that insecurity so much that you are now not dependent, or you're not, let's say, driven by the insecurity, and you are more aware and you can act around it.
Yeah, your insecurities are really your windows to see through what are your weak areas and what is affecting. It's that trigger that tells you, dude, you're not liking it. So it doesn't mean that something that is outside of you needs to change. Something within you is not accepting it.
Yeah.
And that's the self work that you have to do, and just become a more expanded person.
And you know what, Shobha, with podcasts like this, right, conversation that you're driving, we are reaching out this conversation to more people. पहले हम लोग की बिल्डिंग में ना एक अंकल रहता था जिसको सब कुछ पता है. अब गूगल पे देखिएगा तो सब कुछ पता चलेगा. बट नाउ देयर आर पीपल जिन लोग को लोग देखना चाहते हैं, टू नो अबाउट इट, एंड यू आर वन ऑफ देम. It's great to see how I remember talking about this whole yoga conversation with you way before, back in 2018, and then you were telling me you want to do this teachers trainers program, you want to dedicate yourself. Time nahi hai, always running around gigs, this that. 2020, you were one of those people that I personally know of who have really used that time to learn something, to use that to further monetize it, to create an impact, at a next level. And you've done it very well, dude. Like, tell us something about that. I want to know about Yogini Square. We should discuss Yogini Square in this podcast.
Clint, I was going through a rough patch in my life. I was going through a divorce. I had separated from my ex-husband in 2019, and I had come home. It had been just 3 months of me coming home, and the lockdown happened. And so my life was shattered. Personally, I was gone. Professionally, I was gone. At least 3 months down the lockdown, all of us knew that it's going to take way more than a year for this lockdown to, right? We all knew how it was going. So personally, professionally, and even emotionally, I was broken because, of course, my relationship issue. And of course, at home, you're not used to living in your home, and you come back to a place that you've left 5 years, 4 years ago, and things have changed, and they're not used to having you around. And now lockdown, everybody is around all the time. So dynamics, working in. So I thought there's so much of negativity and madness going on around me. Financial status is also not as great because I hadn't focused on my work for the years that I was married. Not that I was told by anyone or something, but I, as a person
priorities
individually.
change.
Yeah, my priorities changed, and I'm that person, right? So I am extremely driven and not driven all at the same time. That's crazy to
It's
put
a
it like
pendulum
that.
we swing between.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
true. I
yeah.
agree
So
with you completely.
my financial halat was also not as great. I mean, I could have sailed
बस
through.
दो
I
तीन
did
करोड़
sail
थे
through.
क्या? She's like, अरे यार ज़्यादा नहीं हुआ, 3-4 करोड़ थे, क्लिन समझ
But
नहीं आ रहा क्या करूँ.
अरे यार कम ऑन क्लिंस. नहीं बट ठीक था.
Just lightening it up.
नहीं
I'm
बहुत
just
था,
lightening it
लेकिन
up.
बहुत जितना था उतना बहुत था. But obviously yeah, we used to be earning, you're used to
Yeah,
working,
yeah,
you're
of
used to
course, of
going
course.
out, you're used to that energy in terms of physical energy, monetary energy, and everything, emotional energy release and all of that. So nothing was happening. So for me it was the darkest time, so to speak. I have cried, I have written poems, I have done things, and I was like, इसके बाद क्या? I was on the verge of depression, or maybe I was in, I don't know. I was like, see, now this is your rock bottom. You have gone to the base of the vessel, base of the sea, and you've touched it. Now the only way, whatever you do from here is gonna be up. अभी तुम यहाँ से हाथ पैर भी चलाओगे तो ऊपर ही जाओगे. I really believe in, and that's when I started making friends with rock bottom. I stopped hating rock bottoms. उसके पहले तक होता है ना, डर लगता है और नफरत भी होती है, कहाँ यार ये यहाँ नहीं जाना है. I cannot get that low. But once you are at the lowest, there's no further low that you're gonna go anyway. एंड यहाँ से आप कुछ भी करोगे तो आप 1 इंच 2 इंच 4 इंच 10 इंच थोड़ा थोड़ा करके ऊपर आओगे. सो लाइक 1 दिन 2 दिन 3 दिन, देन आई स्टार्टेड रिसर्चिंग कोर्सेज. आई डिड मल्टीपल कोर्सेज. आई थिंक वी ऑल्सो टॉक्ड अबाउट अ कोच whose course you did, and then we shared the credentials and things like that. So you've also been into learning and upskilling yourself quite a bit. I've been into that journey myself, and then yoga was a part of it. I was anyway doing it. I'd already done my teacher training programs before my separation. Then I took admission into a master's course. I did that course, and then alongside I was doing multiple courses. I was practicing yoga like 2.5 hours a day just to keep myself afloat. And when I started posting about it, I realized that how much impact it was creating on others. There's so many strangers writing to me that, I've started doing Surya Namaskars, I've started doing yoga because of you, and I did this series called Fitness Fest, 21 days I would come
Yeah.
live, and I did the first season. It was so good. I got such amazing response. So I didn't have like thousands of views, but whoever watched, a lot of people came and they wrote me DMs, and those just made me feel so good. We were in a time when nothing good was happening around us. We were just locked in our homes, and just made me so good. Then next month I started a second season of it, and more people joined in and all of that. I then realized the power of your individual potential. If you come to realize your own potential, there's nothing else that needs to be conquered. There's no mountain that you really need to scale up. Just your own insecurities, your own self-doubts, your own prejudices that you have to break out of. So I think I just did that, and somehow it worked in my favor. And now we just met at wow, all of us. So everybody who comes near me, Are Yogini
Yoga.
Mata, Yogini. You also do that. I don't know why, but everybody does that, and I'm like, just 2 years of yoga on social media platforms. I've been practicing for about 7 years now. And so many people recognizing me for that in an event where I am hosting the event. It's one of the biggest nights for the events and entertainment industry. And I am
Mata
dressing. I'm putting, I'm doing the whole dress up and whole that,
Shenanigans.
the
Fancy dress
shenanigans.
competition chala hai.
Yeah, the fancy dress part of it, and all of that is happening, and nobody's talking about that, and they're still talking about yoga. Then I realized the potential of the honest, intentional, conscious work that you put out there just for the larger good.
Yeah.
It didn't start out like that. I am not no saint or no guru that that I had come on a mission to change the world. I just wanted to conquer my own insecurities, my own self-doubts, my own thoughts and prejudices and things like that. And when I was breaking them, I was simultaneously creating all of this circle of inspiration around me. This got built on its own. I was putting conscious effort every day to just uplift myself, and I have been very conscious of the content that I put out there on my social media. I think you and I have been one of the conscious creators. We don't just
Wow,
put out
conscious creators.
We
No,
are,
that's
and
a
I
good
think
term,
that's the
man.
community we need, and that's the community I
Welcome
want
to
build.
Conscious Creators Season 1.
No, but I really feel that all of us need to sort of elevate our consciousness level, to think that these are also our profiles, are also platforms to send out the information to a larger audience that's consuming it. So what if you give them really some value add, or some effective tools, or something that really works, instead of just doing something just because it gets the maximum eyeballs. So that is something that I've always stayed away from. I think that is how this has been a very honest intent, and everything that I now do, now people tell me that, "Ore, you do so many things, तुमको योगा भी करना है, तुमको hosting भी करना है, तुमको acting भी करना है, तुमको podcast भी करना है, क्या क्या करना है, emotional intelligence coach भी हो, motivational speaker भी हो." I said, I am at a point in my career and my life right now where anything to everything I do is an extension of me. And if it is not that, I'm not going to do that. So I'm only doing the podcast because it is me. It is these honest conversations that I have with you anyway, otherwise as well, right? It's just on this couch in front of a camera. That's it, right? If I do yoga, it's an extension of who I am. I do not enjoy the other forms of exercising as much as I do yoga. So I do that. If I do motivational speaking, so it's only coming out from personal experiences, the studies that I have done, the things that I have gone through, the freedom that I allowed myself to be completely vulnerable person. So it doesn't feel like work. Like really, I'm not saying it just because it sounds fancy.
No, no,
Because,
you are an action taker. I mean, of course, it's not easy to go through. I completely agree with you. When you're in a relationship, your priorities change. And it's like, when civilization was hunters, gatherers, and then we became, like a civilization, the movement to that requires a lot of reprioritization and like settling down, building homes, spending time together, and then keeping work at bay and all those kind of things, right?
Everything,
I
yeah.
can completely understand because I'm in that whole phase right now and I'm enjoying it. There are tough days, good days, keeping that aside. So, in spite of all that, then nurturing a relationship, and at some point when you have to break it up, I can imagine how and I remember because we had, In and Out had discussed a couple of these things, and I can imagine it is actual rock, it must have been real rock bottom situation for you. Considering that the whole world being shut down, it's reasons enough to just keep munching on ice cream or popcorn or just eat food, watch TV sort of scenario. That spirit, right? That is what I feel through this podcast you're trying to give away. And it, of course, for you, maybe have started at a very personal journey to make yourself to be more productive
Right,
and efficient
right,
in
right.
simple words, right? To become a better version of yourself. You did that. And then with time, you saw that now it can create, when you can put it on social media, we have these tools, it can reach out to people. Now it can create an impact. Now people are doing whatever push-ups or whatever, whatever asanas, because they saw you doing it. Now you feel even more better. So I always put my life, when people ask me, why do you do what you do right now, right? Whatever the job, singing, dancing, whatever, setting or being the production guy for Shobha.
You just set my mic and you're calling
No, I'm
yourself a
just- I'm
production
just-
guy.
I'm just-
You
I
came
can't take
3
away the
hours
credit.
late.
No,
You
I-
came 3 hours late.
Oh my God!
Take the credit
But
for that.
not taking the credit away from the production team who set this amazing stuff up.
That's
So, I always say my life story in 3 P's, and the 3 P's are, the first P is paisa, because born in an environment where you wanna make money, you don't have the money, your dad can't afford you an Adidas shoes or Levi's jeans or whatever, and these were cool things when we were young, right?
Yeah.
So. And these are things that you wanted, and maybe even before going, that cotton candy khana hai, dad bola, "Arey mat kha, nalli khana hai, wo mat kha, ghar pe jaake khayenge." So these are all ways to cut down your expenses. So I always thought I should have enough money to buy a cotton candy or Adidas shoes or whatever at different age. That was my first phase in life. So then I thought, being on stage was my passion. I can make people dance, sing, like the emperor wala feel aa raha hai mere ko. And now I feel, and I realized with time, because मेरा passion ये था, पैसे बन रहे थे, तो मैंने realize किया कि यार, now it's not anymore about this side of the story. कि मैं स्टेज पे खड़ा हूँ, मैं बोल रहा हूँ, लोगों को हाथ ऊपर करने, people are jumping, singing, dancing. It's not about that. Now it's about what I can do with my knowledge and skill set and my wisdom, and what impact it creates in people's lives. As you said, you were doing it for your own thing because it made you feel or whatever, for your rock bottom story, and then now you do it because now it's a purpose story. Now it's not just about the paisa or the passion only. Now it's also about creating the impact. So I feel that is a very powerful thing, right? And as you said, you are a podcaster now. You are a MC. You are a yogini. You are a coach. You are so many of you are, and this is all the professional aspect of it. We are daughters. We have,
Of course,
all
of
that
course.
is a different
Different
aspect, sisters,
aspect
and
of
all
it.
of that. So that's a different role. So when you do all of this, because now it's not just a passion-driven story, I feel. Now it's about the real
Absolutely not.
purpose.
There is a purpose, and I people tell me how do we find our purpose, and I tell them that please do experiment with this stuff. You know, try explore. It's not something that you'll go out and find in the outer world. It's something within you, and you'll find means in the outer world to interact with it, and it will show up in one way or the other. But for that, you need to make that interaction. You got to
Yeah.
initiate that. You can't sit here and think, oh, कोई बल्ब जल जाएगा या कहीं से कोई डाल देगा मेरे अंदर ये पर्पस है या मुझे कुछ दिख जाएगा. ऐसा नहीं होगा. आपको एक्सप्लोरेशन पे तो जाना ही पड़ेगा. 10 चीज़ों में देखना पड़ेगा क्या समझ में आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है ये थोड़ा आ रहा है ज़्यादा एक्साइट कर रहा है वट एवर इट इज़ एंड देन दैट it's a process to find your purpose. It doesn't happen just in a day. At least it didn't happen like that to me. I can't
True
speak
that. You
for
got to
everyone.
experiment, just like, I experimented a lot in my wild days. So I found my purpose right now when I'm settling down. So just looping back to the previous conversation. But otherwise, also, I feel follow your passion. Keep trying. How do you find your passion? You got to keep doing a lot of things. Follow your passion. And at some point, when you see that you're good at it and you can create a difference, passion is for you. Purpose is for what I can do with what I have to the world. So I think that's my idea of purpose or
So
passion.
are you living a completely purpose-driven life right now?
I aspire to live a purpose-driven life. I feel that
What is your purpose, Clint?
that's a very good question. My granny used to tell me, and this is real conversation because I do a lot of my own ideas and I chipkau it as granny used to tell me. Just telling
That's
you.
how honest we get
Yeah,
on
yeah,
this podcast.
I'm
Of
just
course,
as honest as it
Lindsay
is.
is like every other week. My granny used to tell me, I'm like, this conversation has not
दादी
happened with
कहती-
granny for sure.
मतलब यार दादी कहती थी अभी मैं बोलूंगा मेरे को ये लगता है दोस्तों तो लोग बोले अच्छा लौड़े. So my granny used to tell me that adding value in people's lives is the highest form of empowerment. Okay, at that point I didn't understand what it meant. I feel now over the period of time that has actually become my purpose because that's what I realized that we as performers, as event planners, as content creators, that's what we do. We engage with people, use that as an opportunity to entertain them, and we hope to inspire them as well. So that's why it's Engage and Inspire Tour, and that's why the purpose, like I'm very clear that it's with what I have and what I can do for the world, not because that's like charity. I mean, I have my own charity adventures, but that's separate. But that's as a service as well. So then, does that mean that tomorrow somebody calls me and tells me, "अरे क्लिंस यार मेरे लिए ये budget पे तू ये gig कर ले क्योंकि engage and inspire." So, no, धंधा separate, charity separate, service, it's service because there's a cost to it. I'm just looping it out, putting it out because this can be a conversation used against, right? Oh, if that's your purpose, then why would you not do a 2,000 people event? Forget about the cost. It's purpose. It is the purpose and all of that, but there is also a very structured.
Of course, we live in a practical world where you and I also pay our bills with money.
हाँ हमारा पर्पस ये है कोई ये नहीं बोलता आप इलेक्ट्रिसिटी ले लो फ्री में राशन सर पर्पस वाले हो आप ले लो पर्पस ड्रिवन लाइफ है
कोई नहीं देता तो हमको भी वही सेम कैश देना पड़ता है जो आपको देना पड़ता है या किसी को भी देना पड़ता है तो हाँ इट बिकम्स ईजियर टू it becomes easier for people to point out fingers at you because you are a public figure and everything that you do people can just say अरे क्लिंस तू ऐसा क्यों कर रहा है या if you put out a video of drinking or something whatever they say अरे what larger message are you giving but we're also humans at the end of the day enjoying life we want to also experience what others are experiencing not because they are experiencing but because we are also human we have human needs. Right, I want to experience
That's
luxury.
why I was on
do.
Tinder and Bumble, guys. I don't think she has those needs.
Yoga se hi hoga.
Yoga se hi hoga.
Clint, also a conversation that I want to have with you is about moving on. What is moving on for you? Because life often puts us down, and then you get stuck at that situation. Sometimes it takes form of a clinical, disorder also, and whatever it is. But once you have to bounce back from it, you got to move on. So, what is the moving on journey like? How does one move on from a downfall?
So let's say move on from relation because it's like
I think it's one of the major
things that really affect.
Any
that can be a job loss.
Yeah, any financial
it can
losses.
be some sort of physical ailments and then maybe disability or whatever at whatever level, but moving on in general, right? And if it's got to do with not situation specifically but with people, so this is my policy to it. So I feel for me moving on is when I am able to accept why that person did that or said that to me and whatever happened because of which if I can accept that then I don't feel that yaar isne mere sath ye kiya My problem, moving on का problem ये कि मैंने इतना सब उसके लिए किया, I did all of this for him or her, but he or she ended up being they did this, and that wasn't cool, and that's why I feel the pain, and that's why I keep growing with it and all of that. But it's at the very simple, like I move on very easily, dude. I really move on easily, and I also feel it also depends on how much you love the person. This is my understanding of life. It's difficult for you to move on from someone who you've given a lot and you've loved a lot. Be it a client telling me something, I'll take feedbacks, but I'm saying moving on to something, it's only to people or to things that was really closer to you. So then you should realize that if it was closer to you, don't let that one statement he or she said or something he or she did, if you can work around it, move on. Like, that's for me moving on. Doesn't mean you have to sustain relationships with people or have to be in an abusive sort of a friendship, relationship, or whatever it is. I'm just saying moving on is just, it's for you. It's healing for you. It's not for anyone else. Moving on is for you in this case. Very specific, because it's, you don't want something pulling you down every day. You don't want to hit your rock bottom because of the weight you're carrying. Just drop it and float back. What is your moving on? I want to know your moving on.
My moving on, someone asked me this before as well, that how do you move on? I said, see, at that time when you are at a place when everything has fallen, the heavens have fallen down on you, and you're in a place where you feel that, what could get worse than this, and you feel stuck. For me, moving on at that time, acceptance, forgiveness, all of this I think comes later. When you grow out of that situation, when you are in that situation, you still are, fighting with a lot of your inner anger
fear,
issues
disgust.
and fears and this and that. But at that point, what should you do is, I think, just move forward. Sometimes moving on is just moving forward. I mean, don't think about it that it has to look in a certain way. Moving on means that you are this healed version of yourself, or you become this person who has become so forgiving, so accepting, and all that. All of that happens, it comes later. But that time, just move forward. Just take on your day. That's it, how it needs to be taken on. Get up, have your breakfast. If you have your breakfast, get to your job, do your job nicely, speak to your friends, whatever your routine is. You speak to your friends once in a week, do that. I mean, just move forward with your day. That's it. Do not wait for any station that you'll arrive at and then you'll become this other person. And all of that is a journey. Healing is a journey. It happens as you
No,
go
such a
along the
powerful
way.
thing. That's true. Like, moving on it's what I said is not the first thing that you would think of when you're stuck, right? Like, I feel just from a very framework perspective, coach to coach sort of a, jamming on that level, I feel I would call it a 3A sort of a process. Just first is to acknowledge that what is really bothering you. I mean, in a case, a relationship or loss or financial, whatever it is, right? Losing someone can also help you, can put you in a dark place. It can be somebody closer to you, whatever. So I think first stage is to acknowledge that you're going to feel this pain for a while. It's not overnight. That accept that you will falter down every time you're going to work on it. Every time you're working on it, it won't be enough. It will take a longer time. Accept that. And I think at the third level is actions, because when you accept, when you've acknowledged the problem, do what you don't want to do, what you must do, but right, like, you got to do that.
Translating it to actions is difficult, of course, because that's not the first thing or even the last thing that you want to do, because you want to seek comfort in your downtime. You become so comfortable with cribbing, crying, resting in your bed and things like that. I'm not saying that it's not clinical. I'm not completely discounting that fact.
No, I'm sure.
I completely understand that it could get to that level, but also it depends on you to sort of in that moment, it's fine. I cannot acknowledge, no, I'm not able to accept what the other
Don't
person
force
did.
yourself. Don't
That's
force
okay. I
yourself.
mean, I'm not ready for all of that today. I'm not ready to take probably actions about that thing in my life. That's okay. But there are other actions that you
Yeah,
can
yeah,
take.
of course, of
You
course.
could make your breakfast. You could fold your clothes.
Small
You could
things.
small things.
Small steps, small
Just
steps.
move forward. Just get through the day. Get through the next day. Get through the next day, and you will come to a point where you will come to become a person who is accepting of whatever has hurt you so bad and things like that. So for me, when I was on this journey, for me it was just moving forward. At that point, I couldn't forgive. I couldn't forgive not the other person, myself,
Yeah.
for the kind of choices I made, the way I behaved, and things like that. I couldn't accept. I was in denial. I was in delusion. A lot of us, I was bargaining on a lot of things and levels. Nahi, utna theek tha, utna hota to utna hota. The stupid measures that we do, which is for things which are non-quantifiable. I mean, it's crazy, right? So whatever math we do, it's like, none of this is working out. This is, making the khichdi just the worse. So let me just get on to moving forward. So what should I do? I should get up. It's a completely khali day. Let me try painting it my way. Okay, I want to get up early, fine. I want to do healthy food and whatever. I did that. I want to do yoga. Let me do that. Okay, I have a lot of time and I have these negative thoughts hitting me. Upskill. Let me just enroll into a course, because when you have to go somewhere, and for us clients, it's very important because we are freelance professionals. We don't have a job that we have to
Structured life
report.
nahi hai.
We don't have a structured life at all. That comes. And as as a generation, we are used to having a structure to our life. Like school में एक structure होता था, उठने का एक routine होता था, homework का एक routine होता था, सोने का होता था. बड़े हो गए, कॉलेज में एक होता था, उसके बाद जो जॉब्स करते हैं उनके जॉब में एक होता है, चाहे आपको वो पसंद है या नहीं है, बट दैट इज हाउ योर लाइफ इज, राइट? बट एज फ्रीलांस आर्टिस्ट यू मेक गुड मनी, गॉड विलिंग, right? You make good money. You do work on lesser days in a month. You work 4, 5, 10 days, whatever, however busy you are, and you you can explore life more because you have more time and things like that. So the negative side of it is that when you go down, you have nothing else to anchor you back and put a structure to your day. So then what do? Then I enroll into these courses. I just, and that gives me two benefits. One, it upskills you at that time. Second, it doesn't give you that window to get into that negative zone. And I'm not saying that don't feel what you need to feel in that moment, but you know when it goes beyond feeling it, when you know when it goes to a level that is now cutting you, and it's making it just work for you, worse for you. So I think
I'm with you on that. I'm just thinking here, like some of those tough times in life, if you had to wake up in the morning and go to office, because we don't have to do that luckily, I would have rather, I'm blessed, I feel blessed that I get those days where I don't have to do anything, just sulk in bed, or still want to do something, but I'm like, okay, I can push it for the next day. Had I had to report somewhere at 9 a.m. and muster out at 6 p.m. or whatever, I would have, maybe it would have been more difficult is what I'm assuming. So shout out to all of you guys who live an organized life, who organize in the sense who report to work, who go to 5 days, 6 days a week, or if more or less, whatever. So I think that's a blessing of an artist's life. And as you said, it's also, it can be a curse, because now you have 20, 25 days or plus minus whatever in a month where you don't have to go for an event. So then what do? And I think that's where, I feel your story is inspirational for me at a personal level, because as you said, not the best things going on in your personal life. World is shut down, enough reasons to just sulk around, eat a lot of food, watch Netflix, put on some weight, get all emotional and all that crazy about life. But it's the other way around for you. I'm going to upskill myself, I'm going to learn something new, I'm going to get more certified, I'm going to practice yoga every day, eat right, talk about it, build a community, and now all of that kind of stuff. I'm happy that you got to share the stage with Sadhguru once. Twice. So I wouldn't say I'm jealous of you, but I wish I was you. I really look up to that guy, to Sadhguru. So
I know, we all do.
So yoga, dude, power of yoga. Look at Shobha Yoga.
So like I said, nobody starts out with hitting some, all that is in your mind. You want to achieve something, you want to make it big, probably, but that's not the thought with, at least I started with. I started just to move forward, because I was just doing nothing for the first few days, and I was like, this cannot be my life. This just cannot be my life. I'm just being nothing, and I'm contributing to nothing, and I am super sad and all of that, and it cannot be me. So I just kept on moving forward and
देखो आज पॉडकास्ट कर रही है, यहाँ बैठे बैठे दिल्ली की लड़की है, बम्बई आके स्टूडियो में पॉडकास्ट कर रही है लड़की। अरे बगुनिया का करत हो तुम यार? अरे no, but seriously, dude, I think it's a very inspiring story. Not taking away the credit from
clients, that is the reason I think a lot of people are also doing podcasts, and I also started, because all of us have had such inspiring journeys. It's just that our stories don't come out. Some of it we don't show, some of it we show. And how much can you really show when you have to put your brand also out there, because that's your so professional identity. So much to do. How much can you really show? So this is also a place where we make room for these conversations, so that your story as a person comes out and people can see through a guy who is this crazy cool guy emitting out a lot of energy. Who is he really, and how does he go through all of these crazy experiences in life, and how he fights against them and just rises up and levels it up every time. And
how he was on Tinder and Bumble and like what he did in Delhi and all those stories as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's life, right? That's real. So this is all about bringing out the real you outside and just telling people that hey, we are all as real as the next person, and we all go through the similar thing. And that's the thing that I say quite a lot, that we all are fighting the same battle. In a different form,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, we're all.
We are all on a quest to become more financially stable. For you, that could mean X. For me, that could mean Y. But the battle is the intent and the
कितने करोड़ होने
whatever.
चाहिए? चलो, let's have the numbers finally. How much is the minimum reserve to be
No,
financially stable as per Yogini, emotional
it's
intelligence,
crazy.
and a rock star performer? सारे mix है, मतलब
It's
capitalist
crazy.
भी है, socialist भी है.
Abhi, it's crazy, pata. I've always been a person who's driven by numbers, but at this point in my life, I'm not. So in 2020, when the lockdown happened, when all of the situation happened, it's like if I have 8 CR in my bank, I don't know
1
how
million, 1 million, sold. Deal done.
I don't know. I don't know
1
how
million
I
it is.
reached to that
We've
figure.
got
I was
the
like,
number.
मेरे पास इतना है, मुझे यहाँ तक जाना है. Whatever that calculation was कि हाँ ठीक है, इतना मैं करूँगी, ऐसा करूँगी, तो that is my comfort number. I think वहाँ तक हो जाएगा तो थोड़ा ठीक रहेगा. But at this point,
No stress.
world
So
is
अगर
my playground, and ऐसा नहीं है कि I don't want to make it big. Of course I want to make it. मैं तो डंके की चोट पे बोलती हूँ यार, हम सब यहाँ पे काम कर रहे हैं, मेहनत कर रहे हैं. Everybody wants to make it, and बट उसके साथ साथ एक सही इंटेंशन से काम करना, और सही काम करना इज ऑलवेज माई प्रायोरिटी नंबर वन. विल आई चेंज दैट फॉर मनी? नो, नो अमाउंट ऑफ मनी कैन चेंज दैट.
how about a million?
No, it cannot. It cannot. I would be dating a millionaire, then it's easiest for me.
All right.
This is off the road.
Maybe that.
Or whatever.
No, I mean, see.
I mean,
हाँ, अच्छा आइडिया अच्छा है यार.
आइडिया तो अच्छा, मतलब मुझे बहुत लोग ये आइडिया देते हैं.
ये स्ट्रैटेजी मैंने नहीं सोचा है यार.
People tell me that you are in a room with these billionaires every day, almost every day,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
We do
yeah.
such
That's
events
true,
and
that's
all of
true.
that. Why don't you just date someone? That's the easiest way out. I said,
You're single now. टिंडर बम्बल तो चलेगा नहीं तुमको.
You don't know
तुमको
if
तो
I'm
मिलियनेयर ही
single.
चाहिए.
you don't know if I'm single now. or
ओह,
not.
खुलासा. डैम ये डैम वाला मोमेंट है. क्या शोभा सिंगल है या नहीं, आपको क्या लगता है? कमेंट्स में लिखकर बताइए. नो बट कीपिंग जोक्स असाइड, राइट, आई थिंक देख, पैसे तो सबको कमाने हैं, अपन सबको कमाना है, because I feel, see, it's also the fact that what you do with the money matters, right? You didn't have to stay back in Bombay, do a setup, spend your time, energy, invest into getting a podcast so that it could reach out to more people and create a difference. So I'm sure अगर तेरे पास 8 करोड़ वाला मिलियनेयर आ गया या उससे भी ज़्यादा वाला आ गया, तो तू तो मतलब podcast. Oh, I want to say this. I love the way you say podcast. What is it?
Did I say that?
How do you say what is it?
Podcast.
Podcast. All right, I'm on Shobha's podcast.
But is it not said that way?
I'm just loving it. I call it podcast.
I am manifesting America.
मैं थोड़ा
darling.
देसी हूँ उसके लिए. Podcast, women Shobha's podcast.
I am manifesting America.
You're manifesting America.
Oh yes, I'm going to
$1 million
America.
तो छोड़ेंगे नहीं हम. LA में पकड़ेंगे. You're very
I want to
important.
talk about this as well. People see love, and it's clearly proven and written and said many a times that love is not enough to sustain a marriage, and that's a fact. I can
दोस्ती
tell you
बोलोगे
that.
हमें?
I
Friendship?
can tell you that. Okay, only love is not enough. So you need to talk about your value system. You need to talk about your future planning, which includes your financial planning, kids, house, if at all you want to buy, where do you want to live, what kind of job you want to continue in. All of these conversations need to happen, and you need to align yourself with each other, if at all, and if not, then I think one should separate. So have you had these conversations with Audi, or is it just love so far?
No, see, it takes, I feel we've become so vulnerable. I feel for me, love is not only enough, that's true. Love
Never is. I don't think it ever is,
certainly
yeah.
has to be there. And, we learnt in through Bollywood that pyar, dosti hoti hai. So you need that level of friendship as well. Because, in that friendship is when you can understand each other and be a good friend and all that kind of stuff. But as you said, it has to be a more dynamic conversation. It has to be about value systems. It has to be about future vision. It has to be about a lot of all those kind of things. Like
your habits and your flaws.
All
Because I
that.
truly feel that, see, when you're dating somebody, what you usually look out for, or what is the question that others ask you, what are the good things about him, or what do you want in someone that you like? Nobody talks about what you not want. So I think गुड थिंग्स तो यार आप पुट अप कर ही लोगे ना किसी की भी. इफ क्लिंस हैज
वो तो
10 गुड
टिंडर प्रोफाइल पे
क्वालिटीज.
भी लिखे थे
नहीं,
व्हाट वी आर लुकिंग
but
फॉर.
suppose if no, suppose if we were to date, if you have 10 good qualities, it's very easy to live with good qualities because वो तो सभी accept कर लेते हैं. But for me it is very important to know what are your those 10 flaws or 2 flaws or 5 flaws, and then see can I live with that. That is the question that you need to answer for yourself before taking a bigger decision for your relationship.
माता रानी
Like
ने
can you
बोल
put
दिया.
up with the flaws?
No, I think
That's my learning.
that is the
That's my
final,
clarity.
that is the
Yeah.
conclusion, because that 10 good things might not appear or might not be visible on a day when those 2-3 of those flaws, or even 10 or whatever number
I
of
mean,
flaws.
see, Clint could be a very good guy, very charitable, very human, connecting with family as well, respecting your family, all of that. But let's say for me, that flaw is Clint smokes. Or let's say,
Clint
which,
doesn't
which, which,
smoke,
which I
but
know you don't. No, no, which I know you don't. Or maybe you are the level of socially active person you are, maybe that doesn't click with me. So that's the conversation that I need to have with you and with myself, that can I put up with that? Because thinking that this might just change, or it might, or he might just, if it happens, great. But you also have to be prepared for that might not, because more often than not it doesn't happen. Then you feel that अरे ये थोड़ा सा ही तो change करना है, why can't he change himself and all of that. So that is, I think,
I
you
think
should
that's
not
important.
ignore.
And I think that will only come through, in my understanding of life, after maybe spending a lot of time with people and realizing what part of it is negotiable, non-negotiable. And there can be certain reasons कि यार, जैसे कि as you said, a smoking partner is non-negotiable for you. Like no matter he is the most
He could be the most
amazing
amazing
human
guy,
being,
but it's not
fair
negotiable
enough. And
for
I
me.
think it's, we all have our own, negotiables and non-negotiables. But I was just, just again drawing back a conversation we had pre-podcast. The fact that a friend of mine asked me that, Clint's, what is the best part and the worst part about the relationship? And I said, dude, the worst part, there are days when I feel I'm taken to the corner, दबा के मतलब एकदम दबोचा जा रहा है वाला सीन फील आता है.
आता है ऑडी के साथ अभी भी.
यार आई फील सो
हर
बहुत
relationship
आता है,
में
बहुत
होता
आता है. आई फील, एंड आई एम श्योर उसको भी बहुत आता है वो. एंड दैट्स द गेम. तो उसने बोला अगर ऐसा आता है तो भाई तू क्या कर रहा है फिर, तू रिलेशनशिप में क्यों है? तो मैंने बोला डूड, दैट एग्जैक्टली इज द बेस्ट पार्ट, बिकॉज आई वांट टू लुक एट इट फ्रॉम अ मोर होलसम वे. इफ आई फील आई एम पुश्ड टू द कॉर्नर, दैट मीन्स आई हैड अ सैचुरेशन लेवल बियॉन्ड विच समथिंग हैज हैपेंड. So अगर ये होगा तो मेरे को तो man, I'm fried, like how could she say this or do this or whatever it is. But then the problem is not what she did or said. The problem is how I feel at level 1, and at level 2 how I'm expressing myself now. तो problem उधर है. So I feel the work has to be done, and if two people in a relationship think like this, I think then then the chances of it sustaining are very high. Because now both of them are individually looking at not what the other partner can do for him or her, but rather looking at what can I do for my partner. Not like, see, इसका ना एक dark side
Basically
conversation.
expanding yourself.
But that doesn't mean you have to take someone else's abusive, be in a relationship.
Of course.
That's
No,
not the
there-
part of
there
the
are clear
conversation.
no's, which
these
are
clear no's.
non-negotiable.
But then there are some of these things यार जो नहीं पसंद है या पसंद है.
हाँ, उसमें कहाँ पे लाइन ड्रॉ करना है, कहाँ पे ब्लर करना है, वो सब चलता है, एडजस्टमेंट चलता है. बट हाँ, यू शुड बी वेरी क्लियर अबाउट इट, क्योंकि उसको डिफाइन करना ज़रूरी है. जब तक आप डिफाइन नहीं करते हो तब तक यू कैन नॉट से आई एम ओके विद इट और आई एम नॉट ओके विद इट. है ना, डिफाइन करना वो ज़रूरी है. तो आई थिंक दैट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, एंड दैट इज़ वेयर दैट इज़ व्हाट माई अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ रिलेशनशिप. नॉट दैट आई एम एन एक्सपर्ट. I've had just one relationship ever in my life, and
What?
yeah, he was the first guy I dated. Married, didn't work out, and all of that.
Okay.
And yeah, so that's been my life. So
मेरी दादी ने बोला था, बेटा समुंदर में बहुत मछलियाँ है. ठीक है. बट ये तुम्हारा चॉइस है कौन सा मच्छी खाना है तुम्हें. I understood what she's saying now. Life is filled with a lot of opportunities. Sometimes we want something, we don't get it. We got to go for something else. It's not the end to the
of course,
story
it's not
of
the
life.
end to the story. It's not the end to the story.
Having said that, special shout out to Audie, because I think she is a highly patient woman. She is, of course, a passionate woman, of course.
She's putting up with you, so that
She
goes
is
without
putting up
saying.
with me, and I wouldn't at any point, let's say a few years ago, pre-dating, I would have not thought that I would give credit to someone for living with me, because I would have taken the credit.
No, Clint, let me tell you, from an outsider's perspective, to live with a person who is as high energy as you are, it's not easy. I mean, somebody
sure.
who is bouncing all the time, and it's exciting, you know. You are a very aspirational figure for a lot of young girls and for a lot of young boys. They want to be like you, girls want to date you, and all of that is okay. And from a distance,
Girls
From a
wanna date
distance,
me.
it looks great and fun. But to live with that high energy, going completely wild person, it's not easy. And it does take a lot of patience.
She's
And I'm sure she has to keep it for both of you also sometimes.
yeah.
And then
I'm
all of
not
us
talking
have to.
about the things that I do for her, but because
Yeah.
it won't make me look good. So I'm
Oh,
just
come
keeping
on.
that bit away.
No, but we all know that you are a great, great guy, and I'm just wishing both of you the best of the times ahead, and I'm sure that greater things are in store for you, and they're all gonna happen for you. So, on a parting note, I want to carry on with this conversation forever and ever. That's the kind of. But I think we'll do a version 2 sometime, maybe. I don't know.
Wow, that sounds exciting. So season 2, I'm going to be a part of season 2
Season 2 as well,
of your
probably.
podcast.
Oh yeah, of
Yay.
my podcast.
No, but
Is
thanks,
that not
dude.
how you say it?
No, I think there is no right or wrong way of
Okay.
saying like chameleon, chameleon,
No, there is a
And-
right or wrong way of saying that at least.
envelope और envelope.
हाँ,
है तो
correct.
वही लिफाफा ही है घुमा फिरा के आइटम तो वही है यार. So either or, but dude, on a serious note, from deep within my heart, I'm sure this podcast is gonna create a lot of impact. It's gonna grow. I wish you all the success and best, and may this be the beginning of a revolution that we're gonna see ahead. And hopefully, like you carve a niche for yourself, like Oprah Winfrey, or create a bigger template
My God.
of yourself. I'm sure, dude. Like I'm saying, this is just the beginning of the story.
Thank you
And
so much. Like I said, it's just an honest intent to bring out the real stories, to tell us that, hey, we are all vulnerable, and where we should find our friendship and our resemblance with each other is through these vulnerabilities. So, anybody you feel is failure proof or dent proof or falling down proof or whatever proof, that's not the case. We all are vulnerables at all
Just
the
keep
levels.
falling, just keep falling.
That human, just keep falling, keep learning, and keep
Yeah.
making your way up. Thank you so much, Clint, once again for coming, for doing this, for
Mata
taking
Rani
out.
ki jai.
Come on, for
Mata
taking
Rani.
out time.
I'm going to leave a bite for 2032. I'm going to have a little bit of less hair. Maybe, I don't know, I might not be looking the same way, but I'm going to be back on your podcast or a TV show or a, I don't know, Spotify show, God knows, 10 years later, whatever it's going to be. But I'm going to be back with you 10 years later, having a conversation. And I hope by then I would be a proud father and you
Clint,
would have changed the world.
7, 8 years, man, it's been knowing each other. More than that, I guess.
10 साल बाद आ रहा हूँ मैं 2032 we're going to be back.
I'm so proud of the friendship that we have nurtured over these years. We don't talk every day. We talk sometimes
नहीं
once
एवरी
in.
डे तो झेल नहीं पाता मैं तुझे.
हाँ, मैं तो बिल्कुल नहीं- मैं तो okay, we talk once in 3 months or 2 months or whatever, but whenever that conversation is, there is so much depth and there is so much love there, and it's always 3 hours or so. I think that's the most beautiful thing. So thank you for your friendship also.
So if you're a good human being, if you want to create an impact in the world, don't go out and make videos. पहले शोभा के वीडियो शेयर करो, पहले लाइक करो, कमेंट करो, और ये बताओ 1 मिलियन 8 करोड़ रुपए बनाने के इजी तरीके कमेंट में डालो, लिंक प्लग इन करो और हम
Shobha
आपको
might
पिन
just
कर
reply.
देंगे. Shobha might just reply. We might even pin it.
She's
and
sliding in your DMs in the night.
you
Hey,
never know.
dude.
She said she's single, girls and boys, whatever,
No, I didn't say that I'm single.
Oh, you didn't say you're single? Oh,
I didn't reveal. I didn't
Episode is
reveal.
just starting. You're not single, Shobha?
I'm not revealed.
Oh.
I'm not revealed if I'm single or not. I could be single. I'm not denying to that. I could not be single.
When somebody says that, you know what it is. But on that note, Shobha, dab मारे खत्म करना है.
Yeah, as